Well, quick announcement updates, because I think people in the front heard Ann, but also people watching virtually want to make certain. Our giving tree is up in the foyer. Our social action team is doing that with Piedmont Progressive Preschool. And together we have 28 children we're hoping to sponsor with the Compassion Closet. So please take one of those tags and return your gifts by the 8th. Salisbury Gathering is having a Deck the Halls event at 1:30 today, and everyone's invited to attend. The University Gathering here, we're having Deck the Halls a week from today. We have things for all ages. Madia has some special things for the children. It will be right after church, so please stay and join us for that. All right, I think those are the highlights, and also we have some things in your bulletin and in our weekly announcements that you can be apprised of. So as we move towards our chalice lighting, light and warmth bring healing for what needs repairing. Let the light before us today provide the repair we need for our souls and for our hearts this morning. I invite you now to please join me in singing the words to lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith.
Amen.
I invite us to please rise and body our spirit for our call to worship found in our bulletin. Let us join together. We are all longing to go home to some place we have never been, a place half remembered and half envisioned we can only catch glimpses of from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter. A circle of healing, a circle of friends. Somewhere we can be free. Our opening hymn is found in our gray hymnal, number 360, Here We Have Gathered. Please be seated. I invite any little ones to come forward to join us for a time for all ages.
Good morning. This is on, right? Yeah. Okay. Panic moment. So today, I have these coloring pages, and they're kind of silly. They say kindness cookies on them. But I have a story to tell you while you color in these kindness cookies. And then when we're done, we'll have some beautiful art that goes with our story. What do you think? I think it sounds good. All right. Let's make sure each of you get a coloring sheet. Kind of like Girl Scout cookies. You're right. Here you go, Mac. Oh, you're a Girl Scout? That's super cool. And then I have some crayons. You want this for your dad? You can give it to him. We're going to put some crayons over here. Make sure everyone can get to some crayons. There you go, Mac. All right. So this story is called The Parable of Cookies, Kindness, and More Cookies. Now, when I found this story online, it didn't have any pictures to go along with it, so I made my own picture book. I decided to get a little crafty. And the pictures are really there just to help me remember what comes next in the story. Because this story it's a kind of a silly one. So, once upon a time, there was a woman who was running through the airport trying to get to her plane. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever been on a plane before or in an airport, have you? Have any of you? You haven't? No? Well, it can be pretty stressful to be at the airport and try to get to your plane in time because they take off at very specific times, and sometimes they're early, and sometimes they are late, and sometimes they are very late, but either way, you want to make sure that you are at your gate on time. So she is rushing. She stops by one of the stores, and she grabs a bag of cookies. They're chocolate chip cookies. And she gets to her gate, and she has a little bit of time, so she sits down, and she starts eating the cookies. And the cookies are placed on the chair. Here's a picture of my version of the cookies, by the way. She sits down, she starts eating her cookies, and the cookies are placed on a chair in between her and this other man who is getting on the same plane. And every time she reaches in and grabs a cookie, he also reaches in and grabs a cookie. And she's very confused, but she doesn't say anything. And she just realizes, okay, every time I grab a cookie, he grabs a cookie, and she's starting to get a little annoyed because here she is thinking, these are my cookies. I bought them with my money on my way to the plane. Why is he eating my cookies? But still, she doesn't say anything. She just lets him keep eating the cookies, and she's getting annoyed, and she's getting annoyed, and here's my picture of her being all annoyed. And eventually, they call her boarding number. She gets on the plane. She sits down. She opens her purse, and guess what she finds? Her bag of cookies. Turns out, this whole time, what she thought was some guy stealing her cookies, she was stealing his cookies this whole time. How do you think she felt? Embarrassed. And probably a little confused. I'd make that face. And maybe a little mad, probably mad at herself for not speaking up and saying something, or not checking her purse, making sure it was her cookies. How do you think the man felt? He was probably confused too, a little confused, embarrassed maybe. What do you think you would do if you sat down and realized this huge mistake? What would you do? What would you do?
What I would do is I would get super mad and slap myself.
You would get super mad at yourself? What would you do?
I would do just...
Would any of you go and apologize? Some of you would say free cookies and sit down and not say anything. That's an option. That is a choice, right? So both of these characters had a lot of choices that they got to make in that moment. They're sitting there and they have all of these choices. That man had 1,000 choices for what he could have done. He could have started yelling at her. He could have snatched his cookies away and said, "Those are my cookies. What are you doing, crazy lady? Get your hands out of my food." But this story happened long before COVID, so maybe he wasn't nearly as worried about someone else's hands touching his food as he should have been. And I think what he saw in that moment was someone who clearly had some sort of need. And he decided, instead of making a big fuss, that he was just going to share what he had with this woman who clearly needed something that he was able to offer. Oh my gosh, those look delicious. Can you hold them up and show everybody the delicious cookies? They are so cute. One of them's pink with blue chocolate chips, and one of them's purple with yellow chocolate chips. That looks super delicious. I like to think that this man saw this woman and saw that she was stressed and running around and she had a need, and that he was able to help provide something. Now, I'm not saying you should let strangers eat your food, because that is how we pass sickness, and we don't want to get sick, right? And I'm not saying that when someone is being rude to you or they're stepping over a boundary that you shouldn't politely and respectfully say something back at them, right? What I am saying is maybe we can all take time to think about what are things I can do that help people that are in need. And maybe that's something as simple as sharing your kindness cookies. So today in RE, you are welcome to join us. Our other teens are also welcome to join us today. We are all going to go and talk a little bit more about kindness. We're going to make some friendship bracelets, and then our nursery friends are going to head back to the nursery, and our elementary and older friends are going to stick around, and we're going to continue talking about kindness. So, On the count of 3, if you could all stand up and show everybody your beautiful drawings that you made. Ready? 3. It's okay, you can finish later. 3, 2, 1. Reveal. You're gonna stay here? Okay, you can stay here, that's fine. You don't have to join us. Oh yeah, to RE? Yeah. Yeah, we're all going to class. That does look very delicious. I like the red cookie with the blue chips in it. What flavor are those blue chips?
Blueberry.
Ooh, blueberry.
Thank you, everyone. So we'll sing our song to help escort you out. I'm really kind of hoping that someone with Coffee Fellowship in the back had brought chocolate chip cookies today, so that would make me happy. So at this point, we enter into our time for ritual and sacred sharing, where we share joys and sorrows, and also milestones and concerns. This week we light a candle. Our first candle is in celebration. Gail and Joe's daughter, Kate, who of course, this is her home church. Many of you have known Kate for a long time, was recently married, and her husband lives in Norway, so she's going to be making a big move as well. So, but we're so excited for this new member of your family, Gail. So. We also light a candle for Sue F. Sue fell this past week and was in ICU for overnight and had a head injury. She said she's doing well. She has neighbors who are taking good care of her, but we want to continue to hold her in the light. We light a candle for safe travels for everyone who will be traveling during this busy travel season this week. For everyone impacted by Hurricane Helene and ongoing recovery efforts. For all impacted by the flooding in Central America. For the immediate relief of the people of Gaza. For all areas of violence around the world, including Haiti, the Sudan, the Middle East, and the war in Ukraine. We light a candle for our country, that we may find ways to reach out with love, compassion, and justice for all people. Now, this time you are invited to come forward as you would like to do so. We invite you to come forward along the far wall. We have our prayer stand, and you may fill out a prayer card to place on the rack. You may light your own candle of joy or concern, or you may place a stone in our shared water. We now light a few more candles for the things we hold in our hearts, which remain unspoken, and also for those who are joining us virtually to honor what is in their hearts as well. Now, at this time, we will enter into a time of quiet rest, meditation, or prayer. And I invite you to be present with what it is that you carry in your heart this morning, what you carry in your body this morning, especially those areas that are in need of some extra love or care, areas that might need some kind of repair, some kind of healing. Pay attention to those things, and during the silence, offer this up for our greater community and to accept the love that we offer here this morning.
These are words from Dr. Rachel Naomi Remen. Can you hear me? Okay, thanks. Wounding and healing are not opposites. They're part of the same thing. It is our wounds that enable us to be compassionate with the wounds of others. It is our limitations that make us kind to the limitations of other people. It is our loneliness that helps us to find other people or to even know they're alone with an illness. I think I have served people perfectly with parts of myself I used to be ashamed of.
I'd like to repeat again that last line from our wisdom reading. I think I have served people perfectly with parts of myself I used to be ashamed of. There is an old book by Henry Nouwen entitled The Wounded Healer. And I certainly recommend that as a read for any of you who are not familiar with that book. The title of the book came from a phrase from Carl Jung, who explored how working with our own inner wounds are foundational to the path of healing, both as individuals and as a community. Now, this book, The Wounded Healer, is so powerful, and it lets us know that we do not have to be perfect, strong individuals to be healers. In fact, people who see themselves as perfect and strong individuals may be the worst kind of healers. In fact, it is our own woundedness, in our own woundedness, we can best be healers. We can think of times where we have gone through some challenges in our lives and have come out through that, and we can best journey with others who are going through those same challenges, whatever they may be, because it's someone who understands what we've been through. Now, when I first read the book, The Wounded Healer, probably 30 years ago or so, maybe more than that, as a young minister, that book was a revelation to me. As a young 25-year-old, fresh out of seminary, I had been under the mistaken assumption that I had to always be strong and certain so that I could be a good minister to my flock, whatever that flock might be. But the fact is, each and every one of us has wounds. Each and every one of us. Now, these wounds can vary greatly. It's in the acknowledgement of these wounds and in the healing work in being present to these wounds. That is how we can best heal ourselves and help heal the world. Now, the great sage Taylor Swift penned these words, which is probably my favorite of her recent songs. She wrote and sings, "Breaking down, I hit the floor. All the pieces of me shattered as the crowd was chanting more. I was grinning like I was winning. I was hitting my marks. 'Cause I can do it with a broken heart. I'm so depressed I act like it's my birthday every day. 'Cause I can do it with a broken heart." Now, Taylor knows what all of us know. We can do it with a broken heart. We can function with our own wounds. But we also know we can only function for so long or function well with our deep wounds without paying attention to them, without working towards healing. An old saying that I'm sure many of us have heard is, hurt people hurt people. If we don't deal with our own wounds, not only does it damage who we are in our own journey, it does great damage to everyone around us. Now, Bell Hooks wrote, "Rarely, if ever, are any of us healed in isolation. Healing is an act of communion. Healing is an act of communion. Repair needs community." Now, working towards our own repair means we necessarily need community. We can only do so much without the connection with others and true, deep connection with others. So how can we be present with our community as we work towards repair and towards healing? Community is present for us with the presence of our ancestors. Now, each of us have ancestors, perhaps unknown to us, names that we don't have. Ancestors who have positive and supportive spirits. The positive presence of our ancestors can help support us and lift us up when we are struggling. It might be that we wear a piece of jewelry that our grandmother or a mother or a favorite aunt, someone used to wear when they were present, and we feel the presence of that person. It might be like the old plaid work jacket I have of my father's that I put on when I'm going to go outside and do some work, and it's going to get dirty because, believe me, any work jacket my dad had has all sorts of paint and stains and everything all over it. And I love wearing that because he's the one who taught me how to do so much of that. His presence is still with me. There are so many ways that we can remember those who have loved us and supported us and helped give us life in so many different ways. And that we can feel their presence with us. We are never totally alone. Now, honoring our ancestors is also something we certainly can do this coming Thanksgiving holiday weekend. The ancestors of indigenous peoples, and we remember them at the beginning of every worship service we have with our land acknowledgments. But the ancestors of indigenous peoples especially cared for this land and offered sacred space with creation for hundreds and hundreds of years. The current native peoples today continue to see the sacredness of the land and lead the way in helping us understand how we can best care for it. And we all know that land creation is an agent of healing. As we engage with community in our own healing, being connected with the land is essential. Think about Sunday morning as all of you gaze through these beautiful windows, whether you are physically here or whether you are looking through a computer or a screen. You see the creation, this wonderful gift of creation beyond us. And we know the divine light is present in every bird, every tree and bush, every sun ray, every bloom. We are surrounded with community. Community which heals us. So we can find the community of repair with the presence of our ancestors, the presence of the community of creation, and in accepting the community which is offered to us. It may not be the community we think we want, but in accepting the community offered to us, repair and healing will come. Now, I know that we all remember those early days of the pandemic. So many of us isolated in our homes and trying to find some kind of connection. Now, there was a TV show, a Canadian sitcom, which became very popular in the pandemic, and so many people started streaming it, because it explored the nature of community and love and healing in hysterical, but also very touching ways. Now, the premise of this show was about the Rose family. Some of you know what show I'm talking about, right? An ultra-wealthy celebrity family with parents of 2 adult children. This family had every material thing you could imagine, and they lost every bit of their money except for a remote, financially depressed, very small town. And so this family, the Rose family, has no options, so they moved there and they live in this motel. It's not a hotel, it's a motel, which is certainly not the best of accommodations. Now, this completely unpicturesque town, the people of the community embraced the Rose family. Even while knowing that the Rose family resented being there, resented the people of the community and the town, and wanted desperately to leave it, the people of this town offered love and support and companionship. And the Rose family, who had been separated from each other by all the material possessions and wealth and self-centeredness that had marked their lives, the Rose family also found healing. The love of this town and community not only offered individual repair and healing to this family, it also brought the family together in love like they had never experienced before. There are so many communities offered to us. We might not see them at first glance. We might think, oh, I'm not sure I want to be a part of that community, right? For whatever reason. But there are so many communities of love offered to us. Now, a community of repair doesn't mean that everyone always gets along or never disagrees, because we're all human beings, right? We're unique individuals, which is part of what it means to be a UU. We celebrate the unique individual person that everyone is and their own unique spiritual journey. So we know we're going to have times where people don't get along or disagree. But a community of repair, what it does mean is that we always keep love at the center. Love at the center, especially when challenges come along. Now, we all know there is so much broken in our world today. And so many of us are in deep need of healing, of repair. Community, a community of love, is the way we will journey towards repair and healing. So today I invite each one of us to accept the communities of love around us. Now, it might feel a little awkward, a little different, but accept the communities of love around us and to actively participate in them. Now, this might be the community of our church that we have here. It might be the community of family, however that family is formed. It might be a group of friends, our neighbors, or even virtual community. We actively welcome these communities into our lives. So today, we give thanks for the communities of repair, the communities centered with love, and we pledge to open ourselves to them. In that way, we will lead our world to healing and repair, one step and one person at a time. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
Good morning. while the choir is gathering, I'm going to say some words about the music we're about to sing. But before I do that, I'm going to give a little pitch, no pun intended, about joining the choir. We have a fun group of people here. We now have the advantage of having Ann rehearsing with us, leading our rehearsals once a week. It's a great group, and you know that if you've read anything about choral singing, that when you sing as a choir, as a group, you have certain chemicals introduced into your body that will make you feel happy, that will make you will reduce stress. So these days, do we need to, reduce stress and feel happy? Maybe, Anyway, please talk to any of us in the choir, Reverend Amy, Ann, about that. If you're at all interested, give us a try. Today the music is I Choose Love. It's written in commemoration after 9 people were murdered in Charleston, South Carolina, at the Emmanuel African Church. And certainly we talked about being wounded. The people of this congregation certainly felt tremendously wounded after this. But as you'll see in the words, this congregation chose love. In the face of hate, in the face of violence, they choose love. So just to talk about the words a bit, we start off very softly. Well, it's not we, but our soloist starts off very softly and beautifully, and using the words, in the midst of pain, I choose love. She repeats that. In the midst of pain, I choose love. And then the whole choir joins in. Still, we're pretty soft. So I'm putting pressure on us to actually do that. But we're still pretty soft, but we crescendo as we go through the song and sing these words. When my world falls down, explanations can't be found. We climb to holy grounds, I will rise. I will rise. So these words really connote that not only is it important to choose love, but to do something with that love and act with that love. And the words, I will rise, I will climb, we will sing that very, very strongly and very with emotion, and then we will end with the famous words, I choose love. In thinking about this, I went back and looked at the initial sermon that Reverend Amy gave after the election, and she was talking about leading with love. And I think that's what we're talking about here, choosing love, but leading with love. I choose love.
I will seek the good once more. love. In the midst of pain, sorrow falling down like rain, I await the sun again. I choose love. I choose love.
It's a time for giving. Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. This month, we are sharing our offering plate with Hearts of the Invisible. Hearts for the Invisible's mission is to eradicate housing inequalities for people experiencing homelessness. Their vision is that everyone has equal access to dignified housing. We ask that you place your gift in the baskets as they make their way around the room, and you are always welcome to give online at puc.org or by texting PUC at the number 73256. Today's offering will now gratefully be received.
We give thanks for all the many gifts that you give this community, gifts given with love, which help us reach out in love to the world around us. I invite you now to please rise and body your spirit for our closing hymn found in our Teal hymnal. And it's a little bit different language than the wording that's in the hymnal, but it's answering the call of love. So we invite you to sing those words, answering the call of love, number 1014. we extinguish our chalice, I offer thanks for all the many volunteers who help make our service possible, and of course, especially our choir. We are always so happy to hear from. I also ask that before you leave the sanctuary today, if you can take your hymnals, place them on the cart near the piano. That's always a big help. Now let us do as we do at the close of each service. Let us offer thanks, either in our hearts or with words for others to hear, for the things for which we are grateful today.
I'm grateful to be celebrating 39 years of marriage this Friday.
39 years of marriage for Cosette, so happy anniversary.
For my granddaughter calling me to say she knit a blanket.
Yes. So Connie's granddaughter called to say she knit a blanket. Of course, Connie is a master knitter, so yes, she is. I have proof in my home. So.
For the contribution of having our choir sing to us and inspire us.
Yes, the contribution of our choir singing and inspiring us.
I'm grateful for this church and the people here because at a time that's in our blood that is really difficult, at least I can come here and know I'm with other like-minded people.
Yeah, grateful for the community of this church.
Coming of the holiday season.
Coming holiday season, yes. We give thanks for all these things and so much more which we hold in our hearts this morning. Hear now these words from L.R. Nost. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break, and all things can be mended. Not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go. Love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. The broken world awaits in darkness for the light that is you. We now extinguish our chalice, but we carry its light, its warmth, and its meaning with us until we meet again. May we go in peace, believe in peace, create peace wherever we wander. May it be so. For our closing song, we form a circle, and you may hold hands if you would like to, but you may also simply stand in the circle with your hand on your heart.
Try to give you a lot of choices for the audience.
I couldn't get the telephoto.
Off.
I couldn't get it because it was too high. If I zoomed in, it wouldn't show up. I brought her.
Yeah, this one had a low battery. Looks like it's off already.
Oh, wow.
No, thank you for having fun with me.
Oh, gosh, I know. Thank you for keeping me on
For
point.
my hosts, they're supposed to be